Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a very exciting afternoon for us here at Shipley, celebrating our 50th anniversary. We do have obviously we have a great program planned, but before we get started, I have our student council officers to start us with the pledge. So if everybody could please stand.
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So again, good afternoon and welcome. We have a very exciting program planned this afternoon. We have a lot of speakers and performances by former staff members and our students. And as I always say, when we get together, it's a good opportunity. It's always great to have all of our staff, kids, and community members in one space celebrating together. Students and staff, if you recall, obviously this year we celebrated 50 years of being in existence here at Shipley, and throughout the year we had several events roughly around on the 50th day of school every 50 days. Back in the fall, we had a door decorating contest around the 50th day of school, and on the 100th day, we had a winter carnival, something that was done here previously that we have brought back and something we were very excited about. And all of that brings us to our program here today. The last event to really wrap up our 50th year here at Shipley, another great one. We have a lot of special guests. I'm looking out and I'm seeing a lot of former staff, and we have parents here, representatives from our SEA and LSIC. So I appreciate everybody being here this afternoon. It'll be a great program. And without further ado, we will start with a performance from our chorus.
Good afternoon. My name is Allison Howard, and I have been a teacher at CW Shipley for the past 32 years. I have taught Chapter 1 kindergarten, 5th grade, 1st grade, and now I'm in 2nd grade. I think that's where I'll stay. I have worked my entire teaching career at Shipley, and the staff and the students have become a part of my family. I love the traditions we have passed down and the new traditions that we make each year. It is my honor to introduce our next speakers for our 50th ceremony. These two women helped mentor me to become the teacher that I am. Ray Ellen Blackford taught at CW Shipley for 36 years as a remedial math teacher and as a 4th grade teacher. Mrs. Blackford was also a former student at the Harpers Ferry Elementary School, which later became our Shipley School. We also have Rebecca Custer, who taught for 41 years. Mrs. Custer began in 1972 when the school first opened as an instructional aide with 3rd and 4th graders. She later became a teacher and taught 4th and 5th grade. Finally, she was our reading interventionist at the end of her long teaching career. So please give a warm welcome to Mrs. Ray Ellen Blackford and Mrs. Rebecca Custer.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not used to holding a microphone. Thank you, Dr. Kersey, and your planning committee for inviting us back for this wonderful birthday celebration. It's just wonderful. It's heartfelt to be at CW Shipley Elementary because I've spent a lot of years in this building, and I see all these beautiful faces out here and all my teacher friends, and I see a few that were here with me in 1972. I think Ms. Shamlin, you were here, and where is Judy Penwell? There she is, Judy. They were here in August of 72. And when this school opened, the Board of Education made a decision that it was time to join the Harpers Ferry children, the Bolivar children, the Millville children, and the Bakerton children to consolidate, to join them together. And they built this wonderful building. The teachers were chosen to work here, and the teachers were from Harpers Ferry Elementary, they were from Shepherdstown, and they were from Charlestown, and we worked in teams. And this is interesting, and not many people realize this, but when we opened, we were grades in this building 1 through 6. Now you might be wondering, well, where did you put the kindergarten students? Mrs. Shamlin and her aide at the time, they were in Grandview School, am I correct on that? In Harpers Ferry.
And special ed.
And special ed. And the children would be bussed up here every day for lunch. And that was amazing that you all could do that every day. We had an assembly in September of 1972 in our cafeteria. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why did they have it in the cafeteria? Anybody got any ideas? The gentleman in the yellow jacket. Yes.
So I was wondering, possibly because we didn't have a PE whole class yet.
You are exactly right. This beautiful gymnasium that you see here, it wasn't here. Miss Blackford and I would take our children, that was the wall we would lean on. We would play kickball, have the children like to play kickball. Our home plate was like right about there. All this was a grassy section, along with the playground that was on this end of the building too. We didn't have this beautiful room as you have today, so you're so fortunate. in that cafeteria, in the assembly that we had, there was a gentleman that came to talk to us, and he was from the Harpers Ferry National Park to welcome us here, and he was a park ranger. And the park ranger told the children about wildlife conservation and how the Harpers Ferry National Park has to take care of the animals, the wildlife, and preserve that area. But he also mentioned to them that particular day, and he explained to them that on the edge of their playground, down over the hill, right at the edge of where the fence is, there was a large plot of land called Schoolhouse Ridge. And now they call it Schoolhouse Ridge North. But his job that day was to let the boys and girls, give the information to the boys and girls of what a historical spot that you have here where your school is. Now, so why is that so important? During the Civil War in 1862, on the edge of your playground over there, they had the Battle of Harpers Ferry. And on that particular Schoolhouse Ridge North were the Confederate soldiers. That was their campsite. And Commander Stonewall Jackson had his men there. And after about 2 days of fighting during that battle, Stonewall Jackson decided to move on up to Bolivar Heights. Bolivar Heights, many of you probably, maybe you live in that area, but at the top of Bolivar Heights, they do have a lot of cannons that line Bolivar Heights. And it gives you a visual of Stonewall Jackson here and the Northern troops up there at the top of Bolivar Heights. The fighting went on for 2 days, and then Jackson decided to move his troops up there. And that particular decision of his became one of the largest surrenders of the Northern troops at the Battle of Harpers Ferry. Now, think about that. This is your school. Look how close that you are to that historical area. Now they have walking trails over there, and there's some signs there that you can read about what's going on and about the historical part of it. After that park ranger's visit, Mr. James Moon, our first principal, he decided that the students needed to choose and vote for a school mascot, decide on what they wanted for school colors, and a team name. Now, do I have anybody in this room that knows your school colors? You. Yeah.
So if there's a royal pink blue and then white.
You're exactly right. You see what I wore today? Look at all these t-shirts, these beautiful t-shirts that I see. The students chose blue and white. They chose a mascot. Anybody, tell me the mascot. Yeah, here he is right down here, the raccoon. And Mr. Moon, the principal, he wanted a team name too, also. Young man in the blue shirt, what's our team name? A little louder, hon.
CWS Shipley Elementary.
That is our school name, you're exactly right. But we also have a team name. Yes, help me out. Yes.
Shipley Ranger.
We're the Rangers, yes. Now, you can probably, did you notice that I said that we had a visitor from the Harpers Ferry National Park, and he was a park ranger? Did you all catch that when I said that? Okay, good. You got good listeners here. All right, so when Mr. Moon told the principals, hey, we've got to have school colors, got to have mascot, got to have team name, they went back to their homerooms and they selected various choices. We put it on a very big ballot in the office, and the students got to vote on what they wanted. And they decided on blue and white, the raccoon, and team name? Rangers. Now, I had Mrs. Williams, thank you very much. She did this picture for me down here on the podium. And this is what our first mascot looked like. And the children came up with something similar to this. And I think that when they saw the ranger that day, and the ranger he told them about his hat, because they had asked questions about the hat. And I think that kind of influenced them, that they wanted that as their particular mascot and symbol. And that was in 1972, 50 years ago. Think about that, 50 years ago. I have just a few more comments. Girls and boys, you are so fortunate to attend this beautiful school in such a historical area. Your history is in Jefferson County, your history in Harpers Ferry, and your history right up here on this little hill. And there have been many individuals that established a wonderful groundwork for excellent educational programs in this building at this exceptional school. I always tell everybody that Shipley is exceptional. And you need to remember something, that you are now part of C.W. Shipley's history. You're part of that history that I just told you about. A few years before I retired, when we were writing all kinds of grants and papers and filling out, trying to get some state awards in 2003, 2004, the teachers, we came up with a phrase, and it's C.W. Shipley students succeed. We want you to understand that you can always succeed, no matter what you plan on doing with your life. Thank you for having me today, and happy birthday, C.W. Shipley. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be back at C.W. Shipley today, and I'd like to thank you, Dr. Kersey, and the committee that asked me to come back and speak today. It's such an honor to speak about Mr. C.W. Shipley. I know Ms. Custer told you a little bit about the history of this school, but I'd like to tell you a little bit about Mr. C.W. Shipley. Some of you might know why the school was given that name, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. Mr. Charles Waldron Shipley was a resident of Shepherdstown. He was a prominent educator, a caring man, a dedicated teacher, an amazing principal who served Jefferson County for over 34 years, touching the lives of many. Mr. Shipley began his teaching career in Millville in 1931, and he eventually moved to the old Harpers Ferry Elementary School, where he served as principal. And while Mr. Shipley was principal in Harpers Ferry, I was one of his students. I was one of the lucky ones who got to know and love Mr. Shipley. Mr. Shipley was very proud of his school, and he loved all of his students. I can still see him standing in the hallway greeting the students each morning by name. He knew our families, he knew about us, and he was always there to greet us. He was a frequent visitor to our cafeteria, and happily, after lunch, he would sell us ice cream snacks before we went out to recess. Yes, everyone loved and respected Mr. Shipley. After his death, the community and the students wanted him to be honored in a special way. So they went to the Board of Education and requested that the name of the old Harpers Ferry Elementary School change and be called C.W. Shipley Elementary. So the request was granted, and on a beautiful Sunday in May 5th, 1968 to be exact, a dedication ceremony took place at the old Harpers Ferry Elementary School, where this beautiful portrait of Mr. Shipley was presented to the school, and the name of the school became C.W. Shipley. It was a beautiful service. It was a beautiful day. And I remember because I was there for that also. Little did I know that C.W. Shipley would become an important part of my life. as a student, as a teacher, and as a friend. I'm so thankful to have this opportunity to be here today to talk a little bit about the wonderful Mr. C.W. Shipley. Again, thank you very much. And today we recognize and celebrate 50 years of C.W. Shipley Elementary. At this time, I'd like to name all of the principals that were a part of C.W. Shipley Elementary School. The first principal, as Ms. Custer told you, was Mr. James Moon. Then Mr. Cedric Sullivan, Mr. Mark Osborne, Dr. Heather Boucher, Mr. Ian Hillman, Dr. Dawn Tyler, and now your wonderful principal, Dr. Brooks Kersey. Thank you again. It's a pleasure to be back.
I have the privilege to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Mark Osborne. Mr. Osborne began his career in education as a classroom teacher for 15 years, then, as many know, had an extremely successful tenure as principal of C.W. Shipley for 23 years. Mr. Osborne currently serves as the Vice President of the Jefferson County Schools Board of Education and has been a member of that board for 11 years. During his tenure at Shipley, he established a culture of kindness, compassion, and love of learning that is still very present here today. So it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Osborne to the stage.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be part of this celebration. Standing here and knowing we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of our school, I can hardly believe that it's been 50 years. Life goes by quickly. My memories of those years when the students and staff were creating all the foundations for what would become traditions that may still be in place now were awesome and fulfilling times. One of the most important unique skills was that our staff was stellar at blending traditional effective teaching techniques with new techniques to produce highly effective teaching and learning for our students. Many outstanding teachers from Shipley have come through these doors to make the students experience a valuable time for learning and growing. It's taken a lot of teamwork, and this staff was always very interested in working together to make this an outstanding school. We received our first recognition as an award-winning school in 2003 as a West Virginia School of Excellence. C.W. Shipley went on in 2014 to be named a National Blue Ribbon School, and in 2022 was honored again by becoming a National Blue Ribbon School once more. It is clearly evident that this school is a special place for all to learn and grow. To the students, you need to work hard and make the most of your time at school. This is a valuable experience for you. It's up to you to make that happen. To the staff, continue to blend teaching techniques together to provide the best learning and growth for each student. Your job's extremely hard in public education today, but continue to shine. Lastly, I would like to thank parents for their support and involvement in this school. Once again, it takes a village to raise a child. Life will take you along many interesting paths with detours, some rough and others wonderful. If you can look back in 50 years and know that you were true to yourself, you accomplished your goals, and made other people's lives better, then you have lived a full, worthwhile life. I wish you all a life filled with luck, good fortune, and happiness. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Miller. I've been a teacher here since 1992, And today I have the pleasure of introducing 6 students who are going to talk to you about what Shipley means to them and what they like best about Shipley. If I could please have Morgan Eberhardt from Ms. Baum's class, Lucas Meadows from Ms. Hilleman's class, Paige Dorsey from my class, Harper Binkowski and Liam DeBoard from Ms. Palmer's class, and Moon Ho, our student council president, to the stage, please.
I like CW Shipley because it's the best school in the world, and all around the school is all kind kids and there's awesome teachers. I like CW Shipley because of the nice, caring teachers and how their principal keeps us safe. I like CW Shipley because I like to learn at class. I like school. I like to be nice to teachers and kids.
My name is Liam DeBoard, and I am in Miss Palmer's third grade class. I have been a student at CW Shipley since I was in first grade. I love how in the school everyone is nice to each other. This is really important to me because it makes our school feel special. I hope you love the school like I do.
My name is Harper Binkowski, and I am also in Miss Palmer's third grade class. I have been a student at CW Shipley since I was in kindergarten. I think CW Shipley means family away from home. I also think it means when you come in, you are treated the way you want to be treated.
My name is Moon, and I am the student council president here at CW Shipley. I've been at Shipley since I was in kindergarten, and now I am a 5th grade student. I've witnessed Shipley's accomplishment and how Shipley got better and better. I enjoyed being the student council president. Our council always tries our best to make our school a better place for everyone. Movie nights, football field, and soon enough a volleyball court is all results of our hard work. CW Shipley not only made great educational contributions to our community, but also accompanied, perhaps provided an incredible education for 3 generations or more over the past 50 years, maybe starting with some grandfathers to parents, and now to my generation. I am proud to be a part of my school because Shipley is a great big family that respects, loves, and cares for everyone. I hope that Shipley will soon have a 150 year, and keep this love passing on. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wendy Wasson, and I've been teaching for 31 years. For 29 of those 31 years, I have been blessed to teach here at CW Shipley, teaching 3rd grade, 5th grade, and my favorite, 2nd grade. Today, we have the honor of celebrating 50 years at CW Shipley. Our next 2 speakers combined have over 60 years of history in our school. Mrs. Jean Reed was our faithful school secretary for 49 years. She is also the grandmother of Miss Palmer, a teacher at CW Shipley for 6 years, and a former Ranger Raccoon from kindergarten through 5th grade. Without further ado, here is Miss Palmer and Mrs. Reed.
Thank you, Ms. Wasson. Welcome, students, teachers, and staff, parents, former staff, and community members, and all of our other wonderful guests who are joining us to honor 50 years of our little school on the hill. When CW Shipley opened its doors in 1972, it opened the doors to create a rich history of achievement and, more importantly, a family atmosphere. I'm so proud of our school and my grandma, Miss Reed, who for 49 years shaped CW Shipley's history. I know we've heard from some of our students about what Shipley means to them, so it's only fair that as Shipley Ranger Raccoons, we share what Shipley means to us. To me, Shipley is home. I spent 6 years of my childhood learning in these walls. I vividly remember almost every detail from my time as a student. From being too shy to speak in Miss Shamblin's kindergarten class, to sitting by the rocking chair while Miss Thomas read to us, to Mr. Lee letting me lead the warm-ups in PE to try to encourage my confidence, to making angels in Miss Davis's third grade class, to writing poems about my awesome fourth grade teachers, Miss Blackford, Miss Custer, and Miss Fisher, to falling in love with reading thanks to Miss Knott in the library, and of course my favorite, the science fair project I did in Miss Flanagan's science class about lipstick. It was here at CW Shipley that I fell in love with learning. It was here that Miss Palmer, the teacher, was created. From the time I was in kindergarten, my career aspirations have never changed or never faltered. I wanted to be a teacher and change lives the way that my teachers changed and enriched my life. Of course, once I graduated from Shepherd with my teaching degree, there was only one place I wanted to teach. I wanted to come home. I wanted to come back to Shipley. And for the last 6 years, I have loved coming to work every day and seeing the smiling faces of all the students that will change the world. After all, my place is here among the Ranger Raccoons. CW Shipley was and still proudly is more than a building, more than an education. It is a feeling of home and family.
This is very hard to follow. All of the boys and girls and the teachers, administrative staff that have put this together, and you've been such a wonderful audience here. I'd like to shorten my speech, but I can't really do that because I've practiced it this way. Anyway, and you know what practice means. Practice makes perfect. Before we start, I have a question. Does anybody know what the word redundant means? No, it doesn't mean we're not going to do it. Redundant, does anybody know? No. Okay, back here in the glasses? Absolutely. And what I have to say today is repetitive, but I want you to get the message. So, let me start by saying this. For quite a number of years, CW Shipley has been my extended family. For many years, it was part of my family. It still is part of my extended family. When I was with my own family, I was also among CW Shipley family. And before I go any further, I'm sorry, I have to do this. I have a couple family members that I want to introduce. This is first of all, and they all went through this school, or are going to go through this school. This is my granddaughter, Paige Palmer, teaches third grade. Okay, ladies, come on, let's stand up. My oldest daughter, you can raise your hand, Jean Waggle, lives in Winchester, Virginia, and taught school for over 30 years. My second daughter is Lisa Palmer, who's Paige's mom. She is a civil engineer. She's the only one of my 4 children that ever said they wanted to be a school teacher. She did not become a school teacher. She became a civil engineer. My third daughter is Connie Davis, who teaches third grade. She's over here. I'm sorry. Old habits are hard to break. She did teach third grade. She's now in kindergarten. And my youngest daughter, Nicole Reed, who's a principal at Charlestown Middle in Charlestown, West Virginia. That being said, I have a number of grandchildren that went through this school, and I won't mention all of them. But here today, I'd like to introduce, where are we? Everett? Everett, can you stand up? Everett is in the first grade. This is my grandson, Everett Reed Green. Also, Also Nate Sharp, can you stand up? Nate is also in the first grade. He's my grandson. And I have a little one in the back who I think took a nap on us. But that is Landon Reed Green, and he will start the kindergarten this fall. So that is the last of my grandchildren to come to school here, and probably the last of my children, but maybe it won't be the last one to be here to help with the staff. Anyway, that being said, let me get on with this redundant speech. So, where do we leave off? The highlight of my day when I worked here was giving out hugs and well wishes first thing in the morning. As the children unloaded off of the bus and came into the school, they went past the office and I would either wave to them or I'd run out and say, good morning, have a good day, have a great day, have a good day, good morning. You'd be amazed at what that does for students, especially if they had a bad morning where they spilt the cereal down over the front of them or whatever. It didn't matter. When they came to school, it was fun. It was lots of fun. I found it very difficult when I retired last year. The first couple of weeks, I didn't think I was going to make it. I had spent so many years here that that was just part of my life. So to stay home, he's laughing at me, and he shouldn't do that. But I'd really wait in the evening until my daughter, Mrs. Davis, got home and would tell me what happened at the little schoolhouse on the hill. Anyway, I became reconciled to being home, and now I love it. And because of my health, I'm glad that I don't have to come to work every day. Some mornings it's hard to get out of bed. I think very highly of the education that the students receive here at CW Shipley. To me, family is usually a group of people that help one another when they need help. Family helps you not only do your work, but it helps you to become a better person. We have always thought of our school of having the ability to be of help and be a family to students. It is more than a 8-to-4 job. It is more than a paycheck. It is more than a chance to go someplace and learn how to do simple math, read, and become friends with people. It was a place where the staff helped adults, staff helped students, staff helped parents, parents helped staff, and this mutual relationship extended into our community. Because of these relationships, our community here at CW Shipley became a community built on working together and one where everyone grew. We always take great pride in recognizing students and the great work that they have achieved. We have often been noted to be the school with the highest number of transfer students from all over the county. These were students that wanted to transfer into our school instead of a school that they should go to. Because of our relationship with students and parents, parents wanted their children to attend a school of this kind of community and love. They wanted to bring their children to our high standards, and that speaks volumes of the education students receive here at CW Shipley and our staff. Of course, this school has changed, grown, and transformed in the 50 years that I have been associated with this family. Then, when I first began working here, there was a lot more of hands-on type of work, using manual machines, using machines to make copies. I know none of you all will remember this, but it was called Purple Ditto machine. And it smelt very highly of I don't want to say that word because you don't know what it is, toxic chemicals. But anyway, we finally got rid of those and we went to a black copier. Anyway, we used to, well, I worked in the office, so I am telling you some of the things that I experienced. We used to have to pay all the school bills with a handwritten check. Some of you may know what that means, and some of you may not. Some of you adults might know, and some of you may not. Anyway, our cafeteria, our principal was responsible for making or breaking your cafeteria. If you had 3 cooks to prepare your meals and serve them, you had to pay their salaries. You had to purchase all of the food, and all of that purchasing went through the school office. Any supplies or things that were ordered for students was paid for by the school secretary. It was lots of hands-on writing ways of doing the work. When I first started working here, I used a manual typewriter. You don't know what that is, I'm sure. You know what it is. Okay. That was up until the time that the school was able to purchase an electric typewriter. Whoa, that was, we were flying. Anyway, I worked for the first 10 years before the first computer came into this building, and it was kept in the principal's office, and he was the only one that used it. Textbooks, pencil, paper was how we taught children their lessons, what we used to teach them their lessons or whatever. In the cafeteria, the meals were prepared differently than today. I helped out that first year in the cafeteria because we were short 1 cook. We didn't have a substitute. So somebody had to run the dishwasher. We did have a dishwasher, believe it or not, a big dishwasher. Somebody had to run the dishwasher while the other 2 cooks served the meal to the boys and girls. We had fresh eggs that were delivered to our school by the farmer in Jefferson County. And those eggs were used to prepare a lot of your meals, and especially breakfast or whatever. But they were delivered fresh every week to the school. The lunch, when you walked into the building in the morning, you could smell fresh baked bread from the cafeteria. They chopped all of the vegetables that was used to make vegetable soup. Things are a little bit different now, still good food, but the whole object is to feed you. Our kindergarten classes, as someone else mentioned, and our special ed classes were not located in this building at this time. We did not have the whole wing where the big kindergarten rooms are now and what used to be 3rd grade classes, but are 2nd grade classes now. We did not have that addition to the building at that time. There have been 3 additions added to this building since it opened in 1972. Let's see. The biggest change since I started working here revolves around computers, to use them every day, and it seems like we will never get rid of them. Hand counting and keeping written records on the movement of money through the school was part of my job, but now we use credit cards. The one thing I hope never changes at CW Shipley is the fact that we are a big family, and we are at the little building on the hill. When you have family, you can never go wrong. When we go back to the word redundant, you know how many times I said family in this speech? Do I need to repeat it? Do I need to be redundant and repeat it?
Danny, you have another part after this. As a student, I looked up to the principal, Mr. Osborne. In fact, one of my favorite parts of third grade was getting to go into his office every time we passed a timed multiplication test. He personally congratulated every single one of us. Coming back as a teacher, I got the same passionate atmosphere from Mr. Hillman, who gave me my first opportunity to be a teacher. And now, Dr. Kersey has worked to establish that same devoted and warm culture that Mr. Osborne gave C.W. Shipley so long ago. One of the largest differences between Shipley 50 years ago and Shipley now must be the introduction of technology, as Ms. Reed mentioned. And as a student, I remember the palpable excitement the class felt when the teacher would wheel in the large box TV for movie day. And who can forget going outside and banging the dust from the chalkboard erasers and having to clean the marker off the overhead projector transparencies. The popcorn machine and the smell wafting down the hallways electrified everyone and made them hungry. Now in my third grade classroom, we have a ViewSonic board and Chromebooks for every student. Long gone are the days of trying not to breathe in the chalk dust. However, we can still smell that popcorn machine on special occasions, and the same electricity passes over students and staff alike. We've changed a lot, but the friendships, the family feeling, the love, the rigor, the respect, and the sense of belonging have stayed firmly rooted in place.
C.W. Shipley has always been about family. 4 generations of the Reed family were Ranger raccoons last year, including myself, my daughter, Mrs. Davis, my grandchildren, which I've already introduced, my youngest and latest grandson, Landon. Is he still asleep? Need that nap in kindergarten next year. We'll start the school this fall. But more than that, Shipley has a prolific history of students coming back and working and deepening the traditions here. Ms. Davis, Ms. Palmer, Ms. Williams, Ms. Carney, Ms. Vanderstein, Ms. Woods have all returned home to C.W. Shipley and continue to impact students' lives for the better. In case you didn't know, my vision's getting really bad. Speaking of impacting lives, Shipley is proud to support students and aspirations after high school. We offer the Elizabeth Libby Scobert Memorial Scholarship to former Ranger raccoons seeking to continue their education. Libby was an art teacher at C.W. Shipley when she passed away, but we continue to honor her legacy and love of students. Every year, graduating high school seniors have the opportunity to apply and to earn a small scholarship in her memory.
As a student of Libby's and a recipient of the scholarship, I can attest to the passion she displayed for art and education each and every day. We keep our staff and students who have passed away while employed or attending school at Shipley alive through our memory garden. Every spring, it is beautiful to see the flowers bloom and blossom in their memory. We want to leave some departing words for our listeners, but most especially the future world changers sitting in the audience. These words embody not only our former students, but these students' futures. Words that have been repeated in the halls of Shipley for years, generations. And as a young student, I remember hearing these words and hoping that I would grow up to personify them. I did, just as I know you will, students, because you have been given the gift of home, the gift of a tremendous education, and the gift of a lifelong family. Shipley students succeed.
As we look to close with our school song, I'd just like to, on behalf of our staff, students, community members that are here, I just want to thank again all those that not only came back but participated, both former staff members and students. So thank you all for your excellent work in this program this afternoon. I'd also like to recognize, and I hope this is okay, I don't want to put them on the spot, but our members of the 50th committee. Those individuals spent a significant amount of time planning this. It was really a year-long endeavor, starting with those events earlier that I mentioned. So if those folks, you can either stand or wave just to be recognized, I think it's appropriate we give those folks a round of applause also. I'm very fortunate to be finishing up year 3, I believe here. I had to check myself on that, but here at Shipley. And, you know, just in closing, I tell anybody who will listen, I'm a small part of this. It's really the work of our kids, our staff, our community that really makes Shipley a special place. But with that being said, we also understand we wouldn't be where we're at without the work of those before us, many of whom are here today. And I think, you know, the amount of former staff I see is a real testament to what this place has meant for 50 years. So I thank you all for coming back and joining us here this afternoon. And obviously we look forward to continuing that tradition of excellence moving forward. Before I invite our students that are going to lead us in the school song to the stage, just if our guests could stay seated until our students have exited the gym. And students, we're going to exit the gym once we're done with these school songs. So if our guests could remain seated until that time, once the students exit, and we have some light refreshments in the cafeteria. So please stay for that and sign the guest book if you have not. And at this time, I would like to invite Elsie Dunn, Vivian McBean, and Sawyer Defoe, who will lead us in the school song, the Shipley song.
Before we do that, can we do one other thing? As guests, would you allow us to do that?
Yes, I've got a request for one more presentation.
Okay, Miss Custer and I were here for a long time together, and I didn't get to introduce us, but the joke was, when we had to do something, reteach was always said. So I would like to introduce you to Teach, Miss Custer, and I'm Reteach. Now, Miss Custer and I would like to do something with the children, so if you'll hold on a minute.
Boys and girls, back in the late 70s, the county, Jefferson County, had a 6th grade track and field meet every year along about May. It was always very hot. We had it out to Jefferson High. And all year, the PE teacher would work with the 6th graders on softball throw, relay races, the jump,
Sportsmanship.
broad jump. Thank you. And our students worked so hard, and most every year, we would not bring the track meet trophy home, but we would bring home the sportsmanship trophy, and I hope those trophies are still around. I don't know if they are or not. So Miss Blackford and I wanted to teach you all the cheer that the 5th and 6th graders would do, because one particular year in the late 70s, our 5th graders who were going to become 6th graders, they worked all summer, they worked all year around the circle, running, passing the baton, jumping, hopping, doing everything. They were determined that they were going to win, and they did. And bringing them home that day on the bus and being at Jefferson High, they put together this really short, little tiny cheer that we'd like to teach it to you. Is that okay? Yeah. And by the way, you all have been excellent listeners.
Absolutely.
Okay. Which side? I'll take this side. Okay, this side. We want you to say, we are.
We are. The Rangers. The Rangers.
Now this side.
We are.
The Rangers. We are. The Rangers. We are. The Rangers. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
If you could join us in the Shipley School song.
Hail Shipley Rangers, blue and white are we. We come from West Virginia, where mountaineers are free. On this windy hillside, soldiers blue and gray. History of our country we learn about each day. Hail Shipley Rangers, we will always be. CW Shipley Elementary.
Good job, girls.